Is it just me, or does it feel like Zoey went from being the white nerdy friend to the punching bag of the series?
I'm just jealous that Noah asked me out.
Shut up!
See, Zoey, you just don't get it. I'm out.
If it wasn't for Tony, oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning back in. This video is long overdue. I did many references to this video, but this is going to be about Zoey Howzer from the Proud Family, the original and the reboot. This is in my series of breaking down, analyzing different characters and their progression or lack thereof in the series and the way the writers wrote them. And I feel like originally Zoey was like a side character. She was like the second tier, like, you know, you have like those main characters, you have like that second tier. She was in that second tier of characters being in the friend group. But in this reboot recently, y'all know what I'm talking about, they really kicked it up a notch. Zoey, I feel like from the writer's perspective, especially in the early 2000s, they had this thing about diversity. One of the first major black cartoons on Disney Channel. I feel like their breakdown was like this. They got the light-skinned black girl as the main protagonist. Then they got her friend group. You got the dark-skinned black girl, you know, little ratchet one. That's like her main friend. Then you got the frenemy, the spicy Latina girl. Then you had Zoey, who was a tall, awkward, white, nerdy Betty Spaghetti friend, who you kind of felt sorry for. She was just there with them. You know, it was like that, the cool girls, the cool black and Latina girls that took Zoey in as like a, almost like for pity, but they loved her, but they were friends. And it seemed like they were like a mixed match of a friend group, but they just took it in as their own, like, you know, that type of thing. Sometimes, if you can remember, it was like those groups or those cliques that had a certain amount of people in it, that had similar personalities, similar aesthetics, but there was those one or two people that were kind of like the odd ones in the group, but you could tell like they were all friends anyway. That's what I feel like they tried to make Zoey. Diversity within the Proud Family was having a white nerdy friend in their friend group. And I feel like from their standpoint, it was either having a white nerdy girl or like a smart Asian girl. Because, you know, that's another trope in friend groups and cartoons, especially in the early 2000s. It's like, you know, the black friend. Then you got the smart Asian friend. But because they chose to go with the white nerdy friend, they used the smart Asian archetype for the Chang triplets. And in the original series, you saw Zoey as like insecure. She was not confident. She felt like, you know, the ugly duckling of the friend group. There was a few times where they gave her a makeover, but it wasn't really, they made it seem like it was effective and like, oh, look, now these guys like Zoey, but it was kind of like a, no.
Marcus, I'm over here. Isn't he cute?
Oh, like she would be dating a Backstreet Boy.
I'm more of the hot diggity dog type.
No, you're more of the corn dog type.
You are going to look so fabulous.
Yeah, baby don't exactly got back.
I knew this wouldn't work.
Check it out.
And a lot of people don't like to talk about this either because of the whole thing with the colorism episode, which of course we're going to get into with the reboot. But Zoey wasn't always the best friend of Penny either.
Zoey, I know you'll help me. The old Zoey would have, but the new popular and shallow Zoey could care less.
And she was just shown to be like that neutral friend that would go with whichever way the wind blew. And I feel like with Zoey's design and her role in the friend group was to be the diverse one in that friend group, because it was like centered around like the black experience, semi-Latina experience, but you know, Proud Family, the black family. So she was like the odd one out, like I said before. And I feel like they used her almost like a plot device, like whatever the plot deemed necessary to use her whiteness in a way. Not really in the original series. You know, they had like the segregation episode where Penny bumped her head.
Why would my mama clean your house?
Zoey, is this colored girl giving you problems?
But in the reboot especially, they used Zoey's whiteness in a way they never did before, almost like against her. Because specifically in the original series, because she was the nerdy one, she was the one that you would supposed to feel sorry for. She was the one that was like an easy target for bullying. the one with the lowest self-esteem, especially compared to someone like La Cienega within that friend group. But there were a few times where Zoey could get feisty, and she broke out of that shy little awkward, and she was like, you could tell, like, okay, she could hold her own.
We can't let Coach Collins get away with what he did today. He violated your right.
And one of my biggest, most funniest memories of Zoey, and I'm pretty sure some of y'all know this too, or some of y'all feel like this too, is in the movie when they had the dance battle against the Peanuts, and they were all dancing, and at first, accordingly to her personality, she was scared to go against them. But then when she got pushed into doing it, she ended up being like the best one.
Oh, just be a stupid butterfly already.
I mean, who could forget that? I remember the first time I seen that, I was like, wow. Like, I recorded it. I remember this is when you could record like on the TV and stuff, and I kept rewinding that part. You know, this is before YouTube. Point being, even though Zoey was supposed to make the group more diverse because she was the white one, her whiteness was never really an essence to the plots or the storylines. But I feel like now, within the reboot especially, y'all know this, in so many ways, instead of making Zoey like an ally, like, you know how you have the white friends that's an ally to the black friends, or like, you know, you could say problems going on within the black community, or problems or discriminations against black people, and you have like white allies that are friends, you know what I'm saying. They made Zoey's whiteness become a fault of hers. She ended up becoming like enemy target number one within her own friend group over something, again, she had no control over. Reason why I really said Zoey became the punching bag of the show is because, you know, we had Oscar, the rambunctious, goofy one who was always getting beat up and blah blah blah, right? Then you had Penny, the main protagonist, who seemed like, you know, you see from all sides of her, like from her friends, from her parents. But as a protagonist of the show, that's expected. You're supposed to see her in her best and her worst, the ups, the downs, everything like that. So it's not really like they were the punching bags of the show. Oscar was just supposed to be like the comic relief, whatever. Zoey, like I said before, she was a side character. One of the people in the main friend groups, but she was like a side character, second tier. But it seems like in this new reboot, the new writers with this whole woke era, taking references and influences from Twitter discussions and Twitter debates that I'm pretty sure most of y'all have seen or heard about, it used Zoey's whiteness against her. The whole setup with the lighter skinned guy coming in. Keep in mind, both Penny and Dejanay already have boyfriends, but I guess they just don't compare to Noah, who they find more desirable and attractive.
Old school. Boy, bye.
Noah subtly makes a grand entrance, and I want to key in on how the producers knew to make him light-skinned with lighter eyes and curly hair. As in the black community, that's considered the genetic jackpot to some. Even compared to Kareem and Darius, Penny and Dejanay's boyfriends with darker skin tones. Darius even having lighter eyes himself. Everyone gathers all around him in awe, but he only blows a kiss to the white girl.
I love you too.
He approaches the table with Penny and her friends, and they all take turns jumping in his face trying to get his attention. Just look at the face of disbelief when Dejanay approaches him. He rejects all of them.
Sorry, but I was talking to her.
And goes straight to Zoey to ask her to the dance, which even she has a hard time believing. The rest all look in shock, as they had assumed Noah would be attracted to them the most. Zoey finally accepts, and they walk out, leaving everyone confused. Maya brings up even more shock, revealing,
Not really. The way I hear, Noah's only into white girls.
and because of that, her whiteness made her become an op to the friend group. And she was looked at as like, oh, you think you better than us? Oh, he only likes white girls? What makes her so much better than us? And because essentially the archetype was she was the tall, awkward, white, nerdy girl who wasn't as attractive. She wasn't supposed to be portrayed as attractive as them. It was the ultimate blow. Like not only does Noah only like white girls, but this type of white girl, even though that's their friend, forget that was their friend. It was like, oh, she wears glasses, she has braces, and she's awkward and looking, she got freckles. Because, you know, they put all that on her, like, those were the ugly archetypes. Any college, teenage, high school movie You got the pretty girls, you got the jocks, and you got the nerdy friend, the nerdy girl. And what happens? How do they look? Glasses, braces, freckles. They're always tall and skinny. They awkward, socially awkward. Like, that was all Zoey. That alone split the friend group up. And they were all mad at Zoey. Like she had anything to do with that. In a way, it was like Zoey was supposed to feel sorry for being white. And it's like, what?
Oh my God.
So many different ways they could have executed this plot with the setup they had, but they fumbled. They didn't drop the ball. They deflated it. I'm not gonna lie, when I first watched the episode, I kind of fell into that trap of like feeling sorry for Dejanay and Penny and like, oh, and then it's like Zoey, you're supposed to be mad at Zoey for just existing. It wasn't her fault she was white. It wasn't her fault Noah was so attracted to her that he didn't see nobody else in the cafeteria but her. What did Zoey have to do anything? They treated her like trash because of someone being attracted to her. Like she didn't deserve someone to be attracted to her. You know what it really was? They made it to where Penny, La Cienega, Dejanay didn't feel like Zoey deserved to be the attraction of someone they felt so attracted to. Now Myron, you know, the black nerdy boy with the glasses and the big teeth, short one, if he was attracted to Zoey, it's like, oh, y'all belong together. You know, y'all one and the same. But because Noah was like the popular one, he was like the one they felt so cute, and you know, like I said before, I don't care what nobody say. They purposely designed Noah to have those features that most would consider attractive, like especially within the black community. You know, the lighter skin with the curly hair and like those lighter eyes and like that deep type of voice. That's not the first time they did that on the Proud Family either. That was like the ultimate attraction, even more than their own boyfriends who were darker, right? And that's the thing, like nobody ever brought it up. Like, y'all have boyfriends already. Why y'all so caught up on this guy liking white girls? Whatever the case may be. If y'all have boyfriends yourself, or y'all boyfriends is not cute enough, or whatever the thing is, okay, they're not popular, they're not on a hit TV show. I think it was like, you know, a role play on Stranger Things. But still, y'all got your own boyfriends, but y'all not happy because this lighter skinned guy likes white girls, and that just ruined your whole week. Y'all ruined your whole friendship with Zoey, and she's just ostracized for no reason other than being white.
He asked her out is because she's white.
I feel like with the writers, they felt like a lot of black people watching the show was going to be on Penny and Dejanay's side, like, oh yeah, oh Zoey, who she thinks she is. But it's kind of like Zoey was minding her business. She didn't do anything. She was just minding her business. It's not her fault. She was like his desire of attraction or whatever. So it's like the plot was just so jumbled, so messy, convoluted, terribly executed. And it made you feel bad for Zoey in the worst of ways. Not even in the original series where she was like the nerdy one, the one that's always getting bullied, the one that's the least attractive, the low self-esteem. Now, in the reboot, whichever kind of message they were trying to portray within the episode, it clearly got lost in translation. Because it just seemed like Zoey was the punching bag of that whole episode. Did y'all notice? After that episode, Zoey became like a side character again. Or almost like an ally, especially when they did the slaves built this country type of thing. Or when they did the protest for the slave owner statue. She just became back to being an ally. Like, they use Zoey's whiteness where they see fit, where they see it could be used against her to portray whatever kind of message. Because it's a black cartoon, Zoey's supposed to be the all one out. But it's like, in a way, like I said before, her whiteness was never really a factor. You know, certain episodes, okay, when they're trying to do like, okay, discrimination episode, the segregation episode, okay, I got that. But now, because of all the Black Lives Matter and discrimination that black people face, they kind of use Zoey's, you know, fun-loving, nerdy character, and they just twisted it and made it like he was simply supposed to be mad at somebody for being white and being mad at how someone else treated them for being white. Nobody asks to be born a certain race, a certain ethnicity. You're born the way you are. You live life the way you can. And that's it. So with that, that was just my analysis of Zoey's character. You know, the awkward, white, nerdy friend whose whiteness was never really a common factor, a main factor until the reboot, when they wanted to put out, portray, or demonstrate certain messages. I feel like for the future episodes, for season 3 of this reboot, I want to see Zoey represented in a different way. I want to see Zoey's home life. I want to see Zoey with her mother. You know, they never really show her. You know, I think they said her mother was a limo driver in the original series. Show Zoey's home life. You know, we saw La Cienegas. Sometimes you saw Dijonais. Sometimes you saw Mayas. As a black person watching the show, as a black person, a black child, I used to watch it when I was younger, watching it now as an adult. A show like The Proud Family that presents itself to be as diverse cancels itself out when they bash the few white characters just because they feel they can. What did y'all think of Zoey's character in the original series? What did y'all think of Zoey's character in the reboot? How do you think they treated her character as a whole? Like, do y'all agree with me that Zoey is seeming like the punching bag of the series now? Even with that one colorism episode, and even in the original where she's like the white nerdy friend that's like the odd one out, and like they play up to that when they feel like it's necessary for the plot. How do y'all feel like the writers really treat Zoey? And what would y'all like to see different in season 3? What do y'all want to see with Zoey's character and her progression as the seasons go on? Let me know your thoughts down below, and please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see y'all in the next video.